Shalom, I'm David Benkof, the Broadway Maven, and I'm here with Peter Filichia, and we're going to be giving you the homework for our Into the Woods class, which is part of our Sondheim series in August of 2023. Into the Woods is my favorite show, not just my favorite Sondheim show, but my favorite show, and I find it multi-layered, and the score is beautiful, and the lyrics are incredible. But Peter, you've got a problem with the second act.
Well, I've always believed that the two wrongs don't make a right. And in this show, we have three wrongs that, to my feeling, do not make a right. All right, so what's happening here in the show? It's all these fairy tale characters meeting. When I heard that Sondheim was writing a show where we would have Cinderella and Rapunzel and Jack of the Beanstalk fame and other such people meeting, I thought, this is going to be hilarious. This is going to be, well, no, not quite. I mean, the first act is reasonably funny, but to me, never hilarious. But what happens is what you hear in the fairy tale, that Jack goes, climbs the beanstalk, goes way up high, meets a giant, steals his harp. The giant follows him and falls to his death. And this is not taken as a terrible thing in this show. Nobody castigates Jack for doing this at that moment in time. They will later when they get in trouble. But at that moment in time, ho-hum, a giant, oh God, that's a good thing he's dead, so on and so forth. Well, in the second act, the giant's wife appears, the widow, and she's none too happy about what's going on, and she wants revenge. Now that's the second where I say two wrongs don't make a right. Revenge is not the way to handle things. All of us, I know, have been involved in revenge, and all of us have gotten some pleasure out of revenge, but it's not really the loftiest way to travel, and we really should rethink when we think about getting revenge, because two wrongs don't make a right. So what do? They make plans to kill her. So we're not only killing one giant, which was an accident, but we're killing a second one, really out of a motive to kill her. Now, granted, I do acknowledge the fact that if they don't kill her, she's going to kill them, and survival of the fittest under those circumstances. But I wish that this had gone. It's funny because there's a lot of talk about "I wish" in Into the Woods. I wish that indeed that this were a happy-go-lucky show with these characters having these problems and solving them. We have the baker and his wife, which are not fairy tale characters that we know from previous incarnations. They know Cinderella or Jack, and here they are, and they want a child, and they are told that they can only have a child if indeed they get 4 items. And it's so wonderful that the 4 items really tie into things that we know from the fairy tales, like Rapunzel's hair, like Cinderella's slipper, etc. So that's fun. That's nice, But, Sondheim, his view of the world was certainly not optimistic. And so at the beginning of the second act, it is very effective when they have what they want. The baker and his wife have what they want. They have their child, and the kid's crying like crazy. And she says, we need more room. And it's not long before she says what so many wives have said to their husbands, we are moving. So, really, it's... and I, at that point, I was really very interested in the show, saying, oh, that's great. It really does prove when you get what you want, you're not necessarily happy, which you don't necessarily get the happiness you think you're going to have from getting what you want. I'm not quite saying the famous expression, be careful what you wish for, because this wasn't a bad situation, but it was a little disappointing them. But then to bring in the giant's wife and have them kill her, I'm not having a good time anymore. But David, you like it more than any other musical that in the history of mankind.
Yes, I think you are more likely to reject a show for its book than I am. I am obsessed with the lyrics and the score. It's just
sure, he did a great job there.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I think it's interesting, in the past, I'm not going to do it this class. In the past, I will survey students while we're going over the show, and I'll give a poll in class, and I'll say, who is the antagonist of Into the Woods? And I'll list the wolf and the witch and the giantess and the steward, and then I'll put in chat, okay? And usually nobody gets it right. And then the antagonist is Jack, which it is, right, Peter?
I see that. I do. He's the one who antagonizes what's going up way up above the clouds, certainly. And it's not what you expect. You fully expect this character that has much more stage time than Jack is going to be the antagonist. I mean, Iago is one of the biggest, has the longest one. I think next to Hamlet, Iago has the most lines in any Shakespearean play, if not in second place. He's no fewer than third or fourth. So really, one thinks of an antagonist as a really major character, and there's something about Jack that doesn't seem to be a major character. Probably because he's so young. Probably because he's so obsessed with his cow, who he regards as a friend, as people do become so attached to their animals, which I understand totally. So, but yeah, I mean, if it weren't for Jack, this might have been a happy-go-lucky show after all, and that would have been one I would have liked to have seen more. My friend Paul Roberts came to town to see the first preview. When he came to my apartment afterwards, he said Jerry Herman should have written this show, and I know what he means. I do know what he means. It wouldn't have had that cynicism or dark side, but if you're dealing with Sondheim, you're going to find darkness.
Right. So I'm curious what students think in terms of the moral compass of the show. Does it disturb you the way that it disturbs Peter? Is it something that you can overlook the way I can overlook it? How do you feel about the second act and its values, its moral compass? Is it something that bothers you? Do you think it's fine? Do you think the giantess deserved what she got? We'd like to see what you think. Go ahead and put your answers in the comments, and we look forward to seeing you in class. The Into the Woods class is the last meeting of a Sondheim seminar that meets Tuesdays from noon to 1:15 Eastern. To sign up, visit thebroadwaymaven.com. And here's a Stephen Sondheim playlist.